Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, March 26th. So we will have the moon in Libra again here all day. We are post-lunar eclipse, that full moon that popped off yesterday early morning. And we are definitely coming down from that particular energy. And today we'll probably be a little bit more focused on trying to find that balance, finding that peace, finding that harmony in between what is old, what is being let go, what is being released, and of course, what it is that we're anchoring in, what it is that we have to be building towards. And so the Libra energy in its entirety is an air energy. So we're kind of all up in our head space, even though the moon has us all up in our heart space. And we have to strike a balance between our heart and our head. So we will see the moon in Libra go void, of course, at 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we will not be locking into Scorpio energy until 5:04 a.m. early on the 27th. So quite a chunk of time that the moon will be void. And again, reminder, when the moon is void, things are shaky, things are uncertain and unstable. In order for us to see things from a different set of eyes, and of course, coming out of the Libran energy, attempting to find that balance, to find that sweet spot, to ground ourselves in the middle once again. Just as we feel a little bit grounded and then that moon goes void, things are going to be thrown up in the air once again. So with that being said, there are 10 different aspects taking place here today. 9 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in this Libran energy going to directly sit across from the North Node in Aries energy, which means that we are sitting on top of the South Node in Libran energy. Again, this was a huge influence under that full moon lunar eclipse peak potency. If you want to go ahead, take a listen to the astro forecast or do a deep dive into dissecting this particular chart and how it applies to your chart, again, you can go ahead and align with the new moon guide, again, on my website or through the gold tier of Patreon. This is a karmic energetic realization. That South Node in Libran energy, again, this was a full moon lunar eclipse on the South Node, meaning we had karma backing us in being able to flip the script, detach, disconnect from the old patterns and behaviors that, again, the Libran energy had us leaning into. That was what was tried, tested, true. That was what was familiar. The North Node in Aries energy is the answer to how it is that we're going to break free of this Libran energy, which is Aries energy. We have to become more independent. We have to build the relationship within ourselves. We have to initiate a brand new chapter in order for us to really break away from the relationship dynamics that we're too connected, too intertwined with, and really, again, anchor into the relationship with ourselves. We have to know thyself in order to heal thyself. We have to feel in order to heal. So it's a whole freaking system that we now have the karmic energy supporting us in breaking free from. The moon is then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings in this Taurus energy. Again, Libra, Taurus, what do they have in common? Venus as their ruler. This is definitely going to put us in a situation where we're kind of focused more on the problems than we are on the solutions. We're focused on what isn't working instead on what is working. And right now, we're not feeling optimistic. We're not feeling confident. We don't see the options. We don't see the opportunities that, of course, we would see if this was a positive interaction. Instead, we are looking at where it is that we are I'm going to say in the lack or scarcity mindset, like, oh, I don't have this, I want more of that. In a situation such as this, with this particular energy dynamic, yes, of course, it's good to identify what it is that we're lacking, but we don't want to take it all the way to that scarcity mindset, that poor woe is me, I'm never going to be happy, I'm never going to get what I want, I'm never going to fall in love, I'm never going to be financially independent. That is very much a narrative that could definitely take hold because of this uncomfortable interaction. Again, may I remind you that the moon in Libra is here to experience the extremes in order for us to find a middle ground. We are definitely kicking off the day with a lot of tension points, conflict points, points in order for us to, again, see the scales be tipped in the darkness as we attempt to bring them into balance, to bring them into light. The moon is then going to make an awkward interaction with Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger. Mars is in Pisces energy, so again, not as many moves to be made out in the outer realm as we would like, as we would prefer, because this energy is focused on the inner realm. We need to get in alignment with our emotions, with our intuition, with our, let's call it, higher selves, so that we can feel emotionally, spiritually, and intuitively inspired and motivated to find a new mission, to find a new purpose, to cultivate that fire, that spark, that flame within us that, of course, is going to see the bumpiness of initiating a brand new chapter through in order for us to actually, again, hold on to the passion, the desire, even the anger, if that's the fuel that you're choosing to use, in order to stay the course. So this particular interaction definitely going to bring out the frustration, definitely going to even scratch the surface of where it is that we're feeling angered. Why? Because we feel blocked. Why? Because things are, quote unquote, falling apart. They're not actually falling apart, but we are in eclipse season. We do have to expect the unexpected. There are wild card events getting thrown at us in order to basically put us on the path that we failed to put ourselves upon. And again, this full moon lunar eclipse is the separation, the breakup energy in relationship dynamics if they are not aligned with our higher self, with our higher mission. And so a lot of anger, a lot of frustration could definitely come out of that. Restlessness as well, agitation, of course. And again, we can learn a lot from all of these heavier thoughts and heavier emotions. The moon is then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with Venus. Again, Venus rules over the Libran energy. Venus is in Pisces energy as well. We have the masculine and feminine energies floating through the vastness of the spiritual and emotional ocean that Pisces, of course, is, taking us in very high peaks and then all the way down to the deepest, darkest valleys, and all in efforts to purify us, cleanse us, peel back the layers of the old version of self, preparing us for a brand new cycle when both of these energies move into Aries energy, initiating a brand new cycle. The moon making a very uncomfortable interaction with Venus in this particular aspect. It's going to highlight for us where it is that we're having some sadness, some loneliness, some isolation, where it is that we're caught in the victimhood mentality. Poor, woe is me. Again, this has a lot to do with relationship dynamics, has a lot to do with finances as well, but those two stem from the relationship dynamics that we have with ourself, where it is that we're not feeling so hot, not feeling so bold and brave and courageous. Instead, we're kind of, again, a little bit whiny, a little bit complainy, a little bit overly stimulated in the emotional realm, and we have a tendency to just take it to the absolute extreme. Again, we need to have a breakdown before a breakthrough. Things are going to get even more intensified because the moon in this Libran energy going to sit directly across from Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. In this Aries energy, we have a whole Chiron Mercury North node window of opportunity taking place right now to help us really pour into flipping the script, rewriting the pain and trauma story of our identity. The moon opposing this Chiron energy is putting us in a situation where, again, we're having a hard time seeing ourselves in the most favorable light. Instead of looking at ourselves as a pillar of strength, as, giving ourselves credit for what it is that we've grown through, what we've healed, what we've repaired, what we've resolved, we are focused on the darkness, focused on the weakness, focused on the vulnerabilities, and therefore exposing all of our wounds, especially in relationship to our relationships, because that's what this full moon lunar eclipse in Libran energy is all about. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction, thank goodness for that, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, in this Pisces energy as well. Now, granted, this is a positive interaction, so, Mr. Saturn, he's not coming at us with like harsh truth and harsh reality checks, but he is kind of giving us a more realistic approach to some of the emotions that we've been taking to the furthest extreme. Again, very, very much over exaggerating our actual emotional disposition under this lunar eclipse energy. And so there is a certain bit of a reality check that Saturn brings, because that's what he does. But it's almost like shaking us and saying, okay, whiny pants, you've sat in your, little victimhood mentality for long enough. You've cried over things that actually don't carry as much importance as you want to believe that they do. So now it's time for you to wake up, put your cosmic panties on, and let's do something about making some changes around here. Because again, Saturn is here to help us build a better structure for our lives, especially in this Pisces energy where our belief system is concerned. And right now, we are building in the belief system of what is possible for us if we were just to abandon our old egoic wounds. The moon is then going to make a very tough interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who at this particular point in time is not going to bring clarity, is not going to bring a shift in mood and attitude, because again, we have to do the back and forth, the up and down, the ebb and flow of these karmic scales. So Saturn just kind of helped us, get out of the depths of the darkness that we were sitting in for the most part of the day thus far. And then here we have a little bit of a realization where it is that we're holding on to fear, holding on to doubts, insecurities, especially where making changes are concerned in our physical realm, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. We don't want to think of a new vision, a new dream, a new goal, a new reality. We don't want to see where we could open up our heart and our head to see what it is that could change in the vision of our futuristic version of self if we were just to get real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves. Because again, Moon in Libra, we wear a mask in order to protect our actual true feelings. And therefore, we are in no situation, no mood, no attitude right now to even contemplate making any kind of changes to our physical realm, especially where this relationship dynamic is concerned, because we're scared to death on what that would actually look at. Again, giving very much into the ego wounds. We're going to get a little bit of help. Here's where, again, the back and forth of the scales are going to continue. The moon is then going to make a positive interaction with Venus. Again, Venus rules over this Libran energy. Venus being in this Pisces energy, which means that the positive interaction, we're not feeling as whiny, as complainy, as lonely, as isolated, as victimhood mentality as we were earlier in the day. Instead, we're getting a grip. Thank goodness for that. We're starting to realize where the darker thoughts, the darker emotions that we've been experiencing through this full moon lunar eclipse window is teaching us something that we've been resisting. And now that we're in the mood, we're in the attitude to actually not want to sit in this dark pit, sit in this funk any longer, we are realizing where it is that we have an opportunity to make some major changes, not only to our heart space, not only to our head space, but to our overall want, need, and desire, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. The Pisces energy that Venus is in when aspected in a positive realm is healing, is purifying, is cleansing, is helping us to detach from those heavier thoughts, those heavier emotions, those connections that we've been very hesitant to kind of let go of. And so this is an aha moment, an epiphany on where it is that, guess what? We don't have to be afraid of really contemplating where it is that certain people need to stay, need to go. We don't have to, sit in this dark pit and just hold on for dear life to what it is that we've already built and created, scared to death on what the alternative may be. We can stand and rise in our power. We can acknowledge the fact that we've outgrown some particular aspects in our physical realm, and because that, we have an opportunity to move on. That should be very empowering, should be very inspiring, and we are definitely starting to feel the higher vibes. Doesn't last very long though, because the moon in this Libran energy going to sit across from directly opposed Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, in this Aries energy. And of course, this is our heart versus our head, and they're on totally different sides, totally different pages, in some cases, totally different books. Mercury in Aries energy is thinking about what it is that I want, what I need, what I desire, what I want to pursue, what I want to build, what I want to bring to life, what I want to experience. The moon in Libra energy is feeling what it is that, the group, the team, the partnership would want. It is definitely going to directly conflict with what it is that your own personal wants, needs, and desires are. And this is where, again, we're learning the very tough love life lessons between the Aries energy, me, I, the ego, my own personal path, and us, the Libran energy, the team, the group, the goal of the, I'm going to say, partnership, opposed to the wants, needs, and desires of the individual. So we are having a hard time getting our heart and our head on the same page because our head is invested on what it is that we need to do for ourselves, while our heart is invested on what we think we should do to make everybody else happy, which of course is the major point of this full moon lunar eclipse in Libra. Just squash putting everybody else's happiness, everybody else's wants, needs, and desires before our own. This is the point when the moon in Libra is going to go void, of course. And again, we're going to sit in that void for a very long time, taking us all the way into early Wednesday morning. However, the last thing that we have going on here today is going to be a helpful aspect between Venus and Chiron. So again, we are seeing ourselves from a different set of eyes. We are observing the change of heart, which therefore connects to this new version of self. We have this new version of self that has new wants, needs, and desires, that has a new mission, purpose, and quest to actually fulfill for our own individual selves. And Venus, again, ruler over this full moon lunar eclipse in this Pisces energy, is starting to see where it is that we've been holding on to dead weight, especially where old soul contracts, old karmic relationships are concerned, understanding that that was the old version of self that needed those particular people to teach us that particular valuable life lesson, and we've learned it. We've maxed that particular option and opportunity out. So there's an acceptance taking place here that yes, things are changing. I am changing. I have changed. Therefore, my wants, needs, and desires have changed. Therefore, the wants, needs, and desires to keep certain people around have changed as well. That's nothing to be sad about. That is a very important realization of growth. And again, we are attempting to bring these scales into balance. Again, balancing the wants, needs, and desires of our individual selves with the wants, needs, and desires of the partnership, of the group, of the team.